Welcome back. We have finished the shooting gallery. You can do that again if you want, but at the moment I'm at the top, so I don't really need to. And I'm just curious to see if...
Uploading personal...
Yeah, I'm gonna skip this dialogue here. I'm just curious to see if... There we go. Gregorian interview. That's Steele's interview with the guy down in the holdup.
This is Crystal Steele, badge number BR61354. Still working the explosion at the Tyrell manufacturing plant. It'll take a day or so to analyze the debris, but there's no doubt in my mind that we're dealing with a bomber here. Right now, it looks like the protesters had nothing to do with it. They were in too close proximity to have been in on the deal. No MOs or identities are rolling up just yet, and I'm still going through the inset files to see if any replicant munitions experts are unaccounted for.
Yeah, we actually heard that Steele was working on a explosion at Tyrell in the introduction, I believe. And she has now uploaded some clues which we can view. Maybe we'll find something that's interesting regarding to our case as well in there. And we now have this factory bombing as the second crime, which is where these clues are listed. This always gives you all the clues for all the crimes, so this is a good place to go to find out if you've seen all of the clues. This is where you get them more organized. And we have apparently Izo is a suspect there. Well, maybe we'll find out why if we listen to this interview.
This is Crystal Steele, badge number BR61354, conducting the interrogation of Spencer Gregorian, leader of CARS, Citizens Against Replicant Slavery, November 22nd, 2019.
I once again asked that my attorney...
Shut it, shitbird. I'm asking the questions. We've already put you on the machine, so we know you're not a skin job.
That term offends me.
Okay, so you're not one of those biomechanical scumbags. And you claim to not know anything about the bombing at Tyrell.
This is true. We advocate equal rights under the law for replicants. We have nothing against Tyrell Corporation for creating them.
That's some sick logic.
The replicants are living organisms, whether people like you like it or not. Replicants contribute greatly to the economic well-being of our culture. They cannot be discounted as such.
Hell, it'd be no skin off my nose if each and every one of them was hosed down for good. You ever see this guy?
Why, yes. Actually, I have. He was present at the protest. He's not part of our group, but outsiders are usually welcome.
How many new faces showed up that day?
Not too many. A handful at most.
Describe them to me.
I don't know if I can.
Oh no? Recording off.
Crystal seems to go for the bad cop side of the routine, but it didn't sound like there was a good cop there.
Describe them for me again.
There was that Rastafarian fellow, and one of our ex-members showed up.
Who's that?
A Japanese man named Izo.
Why'd you get rid of him?
We're a pacifist organization, and we have rules. One of them is no weapons allowed. Izo refused to check in a samurai sword at the door during meetings.
Where can I find this Izo?
He owns one of those little secondhand stores downtown.
Let me ask you a question. Who the hell bankrolls your operation?
We have a number of anonymous donors, people with resources and sources.
Such as?
So anonymous, even I don't know who they are.
I almost believe you.
That's very anonymous. Well, this isn't our case, but it might still be interesting. And now we know where this Izo fellow is coming from. Apparently an ex-member of this CARS group. Kind of reminds me of the Spew group that Hermione founded in Harry Potter. Although with a slightly less awkward acronym. And there's another guy, Rastafarian, who was apparently a suspect on that case, so we'll see if that information ends up being useful. Not right now, though. Let's see. We're not done here yet.
Ground floor.
Let's check out the ground floor. And this is another location you might recognize from the movie, also from the introduction. It is the police station. Right now we can't go outside. Later in the game we will be able to go outside here. And down here is where Brian's office is. At least that's what it is in the movie. Right now it's Goose's office. Exactly how Brian could be handling Deckard's case during the movie, but then be taking a sick day at the same time for our case, I don't entirely know. You run when you double click, and if you click even more times, then you run even faster. And that panning down shot into the office is is a shot that's basically copied literally from the movie. The game likes to use sort of the same establishing shot as the movie did for a number of locations, which I think is a nice touch. Also makes it made it easier for the game's directors, I guess. They didn't have to come up with their own establishing shots. Or locations, for that matter.
Bryant go on permanent leave and you get full use of the office, Lieutenant?
You know the procedure. Dump it all in the mainframe upstairs and I'll read it later.
You got it. Sorry to bother you, Lieutenant. I was just checking in.
We'll get back out there. Those reps ain't retiring themselves.
Yeah, suicidal targets would make my job a lot easier.
Everybody's got a job, kid.
Alright, he doesn't have anything for us right now, but he might later. That's a very important thing to check back on certain things regularly, like the clue database and the lab and Goose as well. They can sometimes provide you with more info. Now, since we learned about the bombing, let's check back with the guy in the lockup, which is the Spencer Gregorian dude, and let's talk to him.
You're Spencer Gregorian, right?
No. I really think my lawyer should be here.
I really don't care. And we got a couple of options now. We can talk about the protest they were doing, about the group that he's in, and we can choose to do a Voigt-Kampff test, which, if you've seen the movie or read the book, you may know is a test to detect replicants. It's apparently an empathy test, because replicants are lacking in empathy. It's designed to provoke emotional responses through a series of questions, and kind of like a polygraph, it measures the response, the involuntary responses like pupil dilation and sweating and things like that of the subject, and by that is able to determine whether or not it's a replicant. There was some question in the story of the book and the movie whether or not the Voigt-Kampff skill would work with the new Nexus 6 models, which were far more human-like than previous models. And Deckard was sent to the Tyrell Corporation to check that out, where he tested it on a certain girl named Rachel, who he was told was human, but in fact turned out to be a replicant, a Nexus 6. But she did not know it herself, because she had false memories implanted. Alright, let's talk to this guy.
I got some more questions for you. Tell me about your protest at Tyrell's plant.
I already told that other detective everything. Under duress.
I want to know about the people who were there. The Rastafarian and the Asian guy with the sunglasses.
I didn't know the Rastafarian. The Asian fellow was one of our ex-members. Izo was his name.
How long did you know him for?
Let's see. I met him about 5 years ago. He seemed so smart and balanced. He really wanted to help the replicant people.
Then what?
He started associating with the more militant factions. I was astounded when I heard he was supplying weapons to some of them.
What kind of weapons?
Guns so new that even the police had hardly used them, I heard.
That's interesting. Where did he get police weapons?
I got some more questions for you. Lot of people involved in your cause? Spencer?
Yes, sir, we're growing fast. As more and more people realize that replicants have cognitive and emotional legitimacy, the Citizens Against Replicant Slavery will spearhead the movement towards...
Save the pitch for someone who gives a shit.
We're peaceful people, Detective. We live by a code that men like you could never understand.
Try me.
2 centuries ago, humans were held in slavery. Brave souls formed an underground railroad.
So, you help replicants escape the city.
I'm talking figuratively, Detective.
Sure you are.
We're not children, Detective. We have resources. The world is changing. People are waking up to the injustices perpetrated by a sick society that you have helped.
A lot of them will wake up dead if reps are allowed to run amok on Terra, jerk.
That's another difference between the book and the movie. In the book, people are not supposed to know that there are replicants, or androids as they're called in the book, on Earth at all. Nobody knows Blade Runners exist. Whereas in the movie and the game, it is public knowledge. And you can do the Voigt-Kampff on him. Well, from the interview with Crystal, we already know that he's human. He's already taken a test, but we can do it anyway. And it's kind of fun.
I'm gonna give you a little test.
The other detective, she already tested me earlier today.
Uh-huh. Look, I gotta check out the equipment, and you're the only stiff around.
I object to this treatment. If you'll just call my lawyer, he'll take care.
Your lawyer would tell you I got the authority to VK the mayor if I want. And he'd have to smile and nod and kiss my butt until I cleared him. So sit down.
Alright, it's pretty simple. We have 2 gauges here. Human reaction gauge and replicant reaction gauge. If it deflects to the right, it indicates that a reaction is more or less human or replicant. We use this to calibrate, and after we've calibrated, we can ask questions using these 3 buttons. So let's start with calibrating, which you usually want to do 3 times.
Reaction time is a factor in this, so please pay attention. Where do you live?
3rd sector, uptown.
Nice neighborhood?
Very. Is this going to take long?
Just keep your pants on, Spencer. What do you do for a living?
I teach political science.
What's your name?
Spencer Gregorian. I really think my lawyer should be here.
Just keep your pants on, Spencer.
Alright, now we can start asking questions. Most of the questions, quite nice, are taken from the movie and the book. So, you might recognize some of them.
Are you taking any drugs?
No. How does your machine work? Is it a lie detector?
Not exactly. Your verbal responses aren't what's important. Why? You got something to hide, Spencer?
Absolutely not.
Well, we've got 3 types of questions: low intensity, medium intensity, and high intensity. And medium and high intensity are more likely to give you clear results on the gauges, but they might also annoy the person you're interviewing so much that he terminates the interview. So you might not get a result at all.
A man dressed in rags approaches you on the street and asks for money.
I try to help him, of course. Buy him dinner or take him to a shelter.
Of course.
You're crying. Why is that?
Crying? It's nothing to be ashamed of. I might cry for any number of reasons.
I'll bet.
It usually pays off to start off with some low intensity, then move up to medium, and then go to
Your
hard.
child comes home with a black eye.
I'd call the school.
A teacher calls you stupid in front of the rest of the class.
I try to do better next time.
Kind of.
What's the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to you?
I'm not answering that.
Like my briefcase? Department issue. Baby hide. 100% genuine human baby hide.
Appropriate. For a killer.
That was a weird reaction.
You rent a mountain cabin. On the walls, someone has hung old maps and Currier and Ives prints. A deer's head is mounted above the fireplace. A full stag with developed horns.
I'd leave.
You're on a farm. You get into the pen to feed the pigs. In their excitement, the animals knock you down into the mud. Using a butcher knife, you slit the throat of the nearest sow. You're covered in blood as you stumble to your feet.
My God. You know, I actually feel sorry for you, Detective McCoy. The lack of empathy. Have you ever taken this test?
I don't need to. I know what I am.
So do I.
Yeah.
You're having dinner at a friend's home. Halfway through the appetizer, he tells you that you've been eating goose liver pate.
I wouldn't eat it, and I confront him.
Test terminated.
We didn't get a positive result human, but based on the gauges, he should be human. Sometimes you don't get a positive result, sometimes you do. But we already knew he was human. He is the character. He's always human, so that's kind of easy.
You keeping busy, pal?
Please leave me alone.
And
My migraine's acting up.
that's all we can do with him. And we'll continue in the next video.